The Elder Scrolls 6. Is anyone excited? No, honestly. Is anyone even remotely excited? Does anyone honestly even want it? It's gonna be a disaster and everyone knows it. No one trusts Bethesda. Currently, people at best are hoping that the Elder Scrolls 6 is not pure dog water because it's that bad. Everything Bethesda has touched in the past 20 years has turned to absolute slop, trash, or worse. Oh, yeah. They are woke, they are incompetent, they are incapable. They are the only AAA company in history who can't make their cash shop function. Yes, that is a literal new bar of low and incompetence. And these people are gonna make Elder Scrolls 6? They can't make a 2D platformer. They can't make anything. And they're gonna make Elder Scrolls 6. You know what? Again, cancel it. Cancel. True fans at this point want Elder Scrolls 6 to be cancelled. They want Fallout 5 to be cancelled. Because if we get these games in the next 5 to 10 years, which is, again, I think they're going to be slightly faster, but, who honestly cares at this point? The faster we get these games because they're not cancelled, the longer we're going to have to wait for a smidgen of hope. Just small smidgen of hope that the next iteration of these games, Elder Scrolls 7 and Fallout 6, is going to actually be good. So we're going to lose. We're losing. We're losing. If Bethesda is allowed to make these games, we lose. We lost. The consumers lost, and they're going to probably... Listen, Microsoft is desperate for money. The gaming division is not making money. Phil Spencer and the black woman who has good feet, they are desperate. Because if they don't get a lot of money, they're not getting their bonuses. Okay? So they need some kind of Elder Scrolls 6. They paid $9 billion for Bethesda. A completely worthless purchase considering you got fucking Starfield for $9 billion. But still, they are desperate. They need to recuperate some of their investment, and my god, I think they're gonna try. The Fallout TV show season 2 is a disaster. As you probably don't know because no one's watching it, which I predicted, by the way. Pat myself on the back right here. You can pat yourself on the back also. Because the numbers are in, and the numbers are horrible. Listen, the numbers are actually insanely horrible. Okay, let me explain. When the Fallout TV this is the quick summary. When the Fallout TV show season 1 came out, it pretty much 10 times the amount of players in every Fallout game that they had, especially Fallout 4. That was the biggest. It 10 times it. Not even joking, 10 times. That is insane. That was lightning in the ball. And now season 2 has come out, and the numbers for the bump that season 2 made for the Fallout games are 203 times lower than the bump that it got for season 1. That is insanity. 203 times lower. You understand that these numbers mean that if the first bump was this, the second bump was maybe this. No one cared. It's a disaster. Bethesda probably put in even more money than from season 1 into that bad boy, and it's a flop. Not to mention everyone absolutely hates it. It completely has destroyed my boy, Mr. House. My favorite character in all of the series. Gone. Dead. Made into a poor man's imitation of... I don't even know what. Elijah? Yeah, someone commented that Mr. House is just is a stupid version of Elijah. A stupider, I guess, version of Elijah. It's disgusting. Completely retcon character, completely botched up motivations. It's just sad. It is the saddest thing ever. And again, we want these people to make Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6. Oh, but Bethesda consulted the people making the show. They had full creative influence. They allowed this to happen. Howard, finally, the spiteful goblin, found a way to actually destroy the legacy of Fallout New Vegas. Wow, it only took him, what, decades?
Skyrim released in November of 2011. That was nearly a decade and a half ago. By the time the Elder Scrolls 6 releases, we're likely looking at a 20-year gap between entries. Let that number sink in for a second.
Bethesda can do worse.
By the time the Elder Scrolls 6 releases, an entire generation of gamers will have grown up without ever having played an Elder Scrolls game.
Oh, by the way, where are the timelines coming from these releases? People are just making them up. I'm not kidding, by the way. Everyone's just like, oh, well, they're not going to take more than that many years to make it, right? So it's probably like in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. No one has any concrete proof of anything. They're just making it up. There's no justification for the timelines set for these releases. They're just making it up.
Fans who played Skyrim as teens are now approaching 40. Skyrim launched on PlayStation 3, and Elder Scrolls 6 will likely land on PlayStation 6. 3 console generations later. Even MySpace still existed when Skyrim released. It is an insane amount of time to wait, yet no matter how much time passes or how little news arrives, it always creates shockwaves across the gaming community. With the new release of the Fallout show now launching, journalists at the premiere were eager to corner Todd Howard and the Bethesda team in hopes of extracting any hint of future game news. Eurogamer sat down with Bethesda, including Todd Howard. This is
Oh wow, what the hell is this? Oh dude, that's your thumbnail, boys. That is your thumbnail. Daddy Todd Howard and money raining down. Holy moly. This is what we call success.
including Todd Howard. This is the outlet that gave Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 a 3 out of 5, by the way. An unforgivable crime I will never forgive them for, but they did get some good quotes.
Kingdom Come Deliverance is pure propaganda, and if you believe otherwise, you are just uneducated.
When Todd Howard was asked about the Elder Scrolls 6, he said, "It's progressing really well." Studio director Angela Browder echoed,
Of course it's a she. Guys, it just gets better.
Similar sentiments, saying she was excited by how far the technology has come, citing the Oblivion remake as an example, and declaring that the Elder Scrolls 6 will
She probably inserted the body type A, body type B stuff. She probably did all the censoring that happened in the remake.
be dope. And Emil Pagliarulo pleaded for patience, stating, "I can say it."
Oh god, Emil. The guy who made Starfield doubled down on the fact that anyone who dislikes Starfield and the writing is just stupid, and then made Shattered Space, which was even worse by miles, by the way, by miles. And now he's making lore for the Elder Scrolls 6 and probably Fallout 5. I don't know about you boys, but I am deeply excited. I am so excited about Emil's writing. Surely he will not let us down.
Going. It's funny because the time pressure that players put on us, we don't put on ourselves, and I know that can be frustrating for players who are dying to play a game, which is a bold statement to make considering this game has taken longer than almost any other game ever. He then shifts to defending long development cycles by pointing to Rockstar. Games take a long time, and games...
Yes, but Rockstar is different, okay? You have no absolute right to compare yourself to Rockstar. Even GTA 6, even though it seems it's gonna be woke, is probably gonna be 100 trillion times better than anything you would ever create.
Get pushed all the time. GTA just got pushed again, which was the smartest thing they could do, because a game the size of these games, they take not just a long time to make, but a long time to spit and polish and iron out the bugs. The argument here is simple. If GTA can delay, then Bethesda should too, but the issue here is GTA 5, released 2 years after Skyrim, was far more technologically advanced. GTA 6 will arrive years before the Elder Scrolls 6, and Rockstar Rockstar released one of the greatest games of all time, Red Dead Redemption 2, in the middle of this waiting period, whereas Bethesda only gave us Fallout 76 and Starfield. Finally, he wraps up with an analogy that could come back to bite them, saying, so what do fans really want? Do they want a game that comes out before it should and doesn't meet their expectations? Or do they want the turkey that is in the oven for long enough to be delicious when it finally comes out of the oven?
I literally don't care who at this point makes Bethesda games as long as it's not Bethesda. I literally could not care honestly less at this point.
Which reinforces the idea that patience equals quality, and that the wait is ultimately for the fans' own good. Now, on one hand, he is absolutely correct. Cyberpunk's launch clearly showcased how an early release can lead to disaster, with some fans still not forgiving CD Projekt Red, despite the game currently regarded as one of the greatest of all time. Dragon's Dogma 2 never really recovered after its rocky start either. Premature launch.
What do you mean? Dragon's Dogma 2 was great. People literally did not care that you have 5 FPS in cities. They just struggled through because the game was good enough. What do you mean it didn't recover? It never got damaged. If a game is good enough, people don't care about the graphics. The people don't care about a lot of things as long as the game is good enough. Dragon's Dogma 2 is a great example of it. Now, granted, that's not an excuse for technical issues, and again, having 5 FPS in cities, that's just wrong. But still, people are going to struggle through this. Tainted Grail, the same thing. The stuttering happened, you just log out, log back in, and that's it. Sure, it's annoying, it takes you out and whatnot, but if a game is good enough, people are gonna play. But again, this is not an excuse for technical issues and incompetency. It's just the fact that people will.
Can cause real damage, so I get Emil's point. But it's been 20 years. Telling fans to be patient after 14 years is a bit audacious. Plus, Bethesda themselves dropped the announcement trail in 2018. That was their decision.
My favorite announcement trailer, look at this. A giant amount of literally nothing. Because you don't understand the scale. A lot of people don't understand the scale. You see, for example, this right here? That's a tree. These are trees. So, if this is supposed to show what this is Hammerfell, by the way, supposedly, because of wokeness. It's not because Hammerfell is an interesting location filled with a lot of interesting stuff, because Hammerfell is actually interesting. Make no mistake, Hammerfell just got picked because they can insert all the black characters that they want, and that's an excuse for it. It's not because the culture's interesting. It's not because the people are interesting. It's because they can just shove in diversity with an excuse. That's it. That's also, by the way, a massive problem for Elder Scrolls 6.
And it's been almost 8 years since then. Now Emil's telling people to calm down? Honestly, that's hilarious. You dug your own grave. I do like his turkey analogy, though. I can just imagine being invited over for Thanksgiving at Emil's, arriving midday, and then by 10 PM we're all sat there at the table, stomachs grumbling, whilst Emil is telling us his tales of grandeur. Hey Emil, is the turkey ready yet? Calm down, it'll be ready when it's ready. You want it to be crispy and delicious, right? Well, yeah, but you asked me to get here early. You said we'd eat at 5 PM. I had to cancel my dentist appointment to be here. Well, that was your call. Damn, these fans are always trying to rush me. And nowadays, journalists have given up hope on trying to get Elder Scrolls 6 details. They basically are just asking, does it even exist? Did you remember to turn on the oven, Emil? I mean, Emil has always been a bit disconnected with his own fanbase. After Starfield launched, it got disappointing scores compared to previous Bethesda titles. Fans gave constructive criticism, but Bethesda's response was defensive, debating fans on Steam and claiming they were playing it.
They didn't debate anything. This is probably one of those slop AI responses. Thank you for taking time to leave a review for Starfield. You can fly. Yeah, this is an AI generated response. Starfield is an ARPG with hundreds of hours of quests to complete and characters to meet. Most quests you will also vary on your character's skill and decision, massively changing the outcome of your playthrough, the creative difference, blah 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 blah. Yeah, this is an AI response. Okay, ABB, I'm not gonna lie, This is not them actually responding. This is just one of their fortune copy pastes, okay? The only thing this thing is missing is being a fucking green text at this point. I'm not gonna lie. Okay? There was this one. There was the one about astronauts. Did you think that astronauts were not having fun when they landed on the moon? Have you tried to play the game correctly? I forgot how many copy pastas there were, but no, but by the way, I'm serious. This is officially Bethesda's real response. It's a ChatGPT copy paste that they sent out to everyone who was negative about the game. Have you tried playing it the correct way, Chud?
Wrong. Emil spoke out, praising Starfield as a technical marvel instead of addressing negative reviews or fan feedback. This dismissal of criticism shows a pattern. Without acknowledging mistakes, growth stalls.
Boy.
And Bethesda's recent track record, Fallout 4, Fallout 76 and Starfield, reflects that. Then came the Shattered Space DLC. It was widely disliked and criticized as not worth the $30.
Okay, first of all, this was not wildly disliked and criticized because you know what happened? No one played it. I can show you the Starfield graph right now, and you will not be able to, unless you squint and look very closely to figure out where the hell did the expansion drop. And keep in mind, this thing was free to most people. Most people got the expansion for free and did not play it. Like, you can see this small of a bump happening. It was a disaster.
Price.
And by the way, it was a peak Bethesda disaster because House Varun was the most interesting and coolest thing in the original Starfield game before the expansion. And the reason for that was because it was super vague and it didn't have any lore behind it. It was just, oh, there's these people somewhere, we don't know where they are, and they worship the space serpent. Yeah, that's about right. And that's it. And the reason why House Varun was the coolest and most interesting thing was not because it was actually good. It was because there was no lore around it, because everything that Bethesda touches turns to ash. So, the only thing that was interesting about the Starfield was the thing that Bethesda just inserted there and kept vague because there was and added no information. Everything that they fleshed out instantaneously collapsed. And now they fleshed out House Varun. I'll give you the quick, too long didn't read summary of what House Varun is, by the way, if you do not know. It's great. It's absolutely fabulous, in fact. House Varun is a bunch of people who have no emotions and don't really understand them or something like that, even though they're constantly exhibiting all of the emotions constantly and always replying accordingly, and they don't seem strange at all. They have tattoos on their face and eyelids for no reason. They just have them because they need to be special. So, you know, how to make the House Varun special and unique. Oh, I know. Let's tattoo their faces with just it's just, by the way, it's just black tattoos. There's no patterns, there's no nothing. It's just for some guy is gonna have his jaw tattooed like this. Someone's gonna have their eyelids and whatever tattooed. It makes no sense. And then also House Varun has a rule that anyone can kill anyone for any reason, and they take their stuff. Yeah, that's House Varun. Does that sound interesting? No. No, obviously not. That sounds stupid. Stupid on all levels. And that's exactly what it is.
Emil's response.
And by the way, all of these things are throwaways. The tattoos are never explained. If I don't like you, I can just stab you and then I get to take your stuff and it's legal and there's no repercussions for it, and that is a loud thing in society, and I can get even your job position if I feel like it. Not explained, showed literally once and then just thrown away. Yeah, that's the writing that we're working here with. Amazing.
He doubled down, claiming Bethesda has a pretty good handle on how to plug new content into their huge games, essentially declaring themselves the kings of DLC despite fan.
Yes, and when the DLC sold 0 copies, they also came out on a podcast and said, you know what? If we only added the rover on the DLC, it would have sold billions. I'm not kidding, by the way. Again, I don't need to make up things. I don't need to joke. I don't need to exaggerate when it comes to Bethesda and how absolutely crazy inept they are.
Backlash. He later took to Twitter to defend the DLC further, praising the team and expressing personal optimism, again refusing to admit any flaws. Across both Starfield and its DLC, Emil's pattern is clear. Rather than listening to fans, he deflects and self-praises, which only widens the disconnect between Bethesda and its community. These Elder Scrolls 6 comments are sort of in that same ballpark. Fans demand too much, they want it too early, we know what we're doing. Anyway, enough about Emil. I want to ask the question, can a game survive a 15 to 20 year gap without collapsing under its own expectations? The issue here is, Emil and Bethesda in general have always seemed to ignore any feedback and live in their own world. Now don't get me wrong, fans surely do want the Elder Scrolls 6, but it has to be a good Elder Scrolls 6. And 20 years is a long time in normal life, but in the...
They're never gonna deliver. Because, again, one of the most devastating things that has happened to the Bethesda that a lot of people don't know about is the success, yes, success of the Oblivion remaster. Because people don't understand what this means. The success of Oblivion's remaster shows that old Bethesda was good, competent, and knew what they were doing. Because people liked the Oblivion remaster. They liked what they got. They liked the stories. They liked the everything. People only complained about the body type A and body type B. That's what Bethesda changed. And that's the one thing that people complain about. This proved, without a shadow of a doubt, that old Bethesda knew what's up. Old Bethesda was competent, that new Bethesda is unable to rival them. Because previously, Todd Howard and Emil had the excuse of, oh, well, the old games are not actually that good. They weren't that good. They were fine. It's just you were a kid. You were a kid, so everything seemed fun to you. And then the remake happens and everyone's ecstatic and stoked. The only bad thing about the remake is the fact that I honestly think that Bethesda intentionally is letting the Oblivion remake to rot away and not fixing the huge stutter, bug, log, FPS drop issues that the game has that are massive. So people forget about it and they can pretend it wasn't a success. I think that's what's happening. It is insane.
Long time in normal life, but in the technology sector, especially in video games, it's a lifetime. Super Mario Bros. Released in 1985, a simple side-scroller game with pixelated blocks. 20 years later, and GTA San Andreas released, which contained an entire open world, completely 3D, stretching over 3 states. 20 years after this entry, games like Death Stranding 2 have pushed technological limits even further. To wait this long between 2 entries is already a risk, but Bethesda's biggest issue is they haven't moved on with the times. Back when Skyrim released in 2011, the game looked pretty good for its time. Games like The Last of Us and Grand Theft Auto 5 were more advanced graphically and technologically, but Bethesda wasn't a mile behind. But in 2015, when Fallout 4 arrived for the next console generation, it became apparent how far the creation engine had begun to show its age. Witcher 3 beat Fallout 4 to Game of the Year, and games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Cyberpunk, and Elden Ring have continued to push boundaries further. When you compare Fallout 4 to modern titles like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Cyberpunk, open world RPGs of a similar blueprint, the gap is obvious. Loading screens everywhere, limited animations, game-breaking glitches, basic quest design, and simplified mechanics. The creation engine is just unable to keep up with modern technology. However, Fallout 4 remains hugely popular thanks to the modding community. Its simple quests, mechanics, and animations.
Since the beginning, the only thing that has saved Bethesda is the modders. That's literally it.
Less polished than many modern games,
And then you have situations like Fallout New London, Where Bethesda, most likely, let's be real, intentionally makes an update to brick the release of that title because they don't want anyone to make a better Fallout 4.
Modders freedom to transform the game, adding ladders, taxis, factions, and much more. Like Minecraft, its basic systems encourage creativity. Bethesda's stripped-down design made Fallout 4 a hit, and mods keep it alive today. But if you were to try and play the vanilla version of Fallout 4 today, after playing more recent, more advanced open-world RPGs like Cyberpunk or Kingdom Come Deliverance, it would become immediately apparent how far behind the competition Bethesda is. Don't believe me? Well, let's substitute the word Fallout 4 with Starfield. Unlike the previous entry, Starfield didn't have the luxury of launching with tons of player creations to help flesh out its world. The actual game itself was thrust into the spotlight and it could not even compete. Comparisons of
Oh my god, I actually just got an epiphany. So, if you don't know, Starfield was the thing that Todd Howard wanted to make since he was a kid. There's literally documented evidence that this is Todd Howard's ultimate baby. Previously, his magnus opus was Fallout 3. That's why he was so pissed about New Vegas. But the real thing that he always wanted to make was a space game like Starfield. And now he finally did it. He finally did it. And this explains why this is the most mod-unfriendly game Bethesda has ever released. Because Todd doesn't want modders to ruin his grand design. Todd doesn't want anyone to change his game, so that's why he made it extremely hard to mod Starfield. Oh my god, it's an epiphany! Man, every time that I think about these things, Todd just becomes more petty. It's insane. It is truly insane. Yes, he does not want Starfield to be modded because it's his grand magnus opus. It's the thing that he wanted to make since he was a kid. And I'm not kidding. He actually did want to make something like Starfield since he was a kid. So this is the culmination of all his dreams, all the things that he wanted in his life since the beginning. So obviously he's not gonna let someone mod it. Obviously he's gonna make it as bad and horrible to actually mod as possible. That is insane.
Animations from Cyberpunk vs Starfield were all over the internet. NPCs were comically mocked when compared to those out of Red Dead Redemption 2, and inferior writing fell flat once lined up to titles like Baldur's Gate 3. Quest design in both Fallout 4 and Starfield had slowly moved...
How bad the quest design is in Starfield? There are many examples. One of my favorites is the pirate faction you can join, where you have this initiation that you need to finish, and there's also one other guy who wants to join with you, and he offers like 7 times for you to betray the head pirate so they can take over. And every time you say no to him, he's like, "You're gonna regret this. I'm gonna punish you for this." And you can't do anything. You can't kill the guy. You can't tell the head pirate that he wants to betray you. And at the end, when you succeed and he fails the initiation, he, in front of everyone, literally comes out and says, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah. That's what the NPC says in front of all of the pirates. He failed the initiation. You're a pirate, he isn't. And if you try to shoot him, the pirates attack you. You can't tell the boss pirate, then it's bad. Another situation is in the city where you're supposed to buy an artifact, and the guy literally says, "I am a multi-trillabillionaire." You know, literally Elon Musk, but space Elon Musk. Money is not an issue. We will buy this no matter how much he asks, because it's pennies for me anyway. And then you get to the meeting and the guy is like, "Give me 10% more that I initially asked." And he's like, "Outrageous! How is this possible? No, good sir. I will not pay a penny more." And then if you start doing things, the guy also will berate you at the end and saying, "Why did you did that? I didn't want to kill anyone. We just needed to pay him." And then, bro, the story in Starfield literally at points doesn't remember what itself said 5 seconds ago. It is so bad.
The way from deep complex narrative setups to generic procedurally generated objectives. Radiant quests of go here and get X dominated the player's journal page, leading to repetition and boredom. The Witcher 3 redefined what a side quest could be, with each quest providing a detailed plotline, well-written characters, and numerous decision-making options that change the outcome. Almost every other open-world RPG copied this new format. Kingdom Come Deliverance, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and even Final Fantasy. The standards had gone up and every studio followed suit. Everyone except Bethesda, who still made quests from 2011. DLCs also improved over the years, with Witcher 3's Blood and Wine, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, and Cyberpunk's Phantom Liberty. Starfield's DLC edition of Shattered Space, whilst priced the same as those others, was miles behind in terms of quality. The point is, this level of quest design, DLC add-ons and game design was exceptional in 2011 when Skyrim released. It was being outpaced in 2015 when Fallout 4 released, as showcased by Witcher 3's.
Do you think Bethesda is gonna put a price tag of $100 on Elder Scrolls 6, by the way, or more? I think they will. I think they will. Because the reality is, it doesn't matter how poor Bethesda is and how much damage Starfield has done. I mean, it's the Elder Scrolls 6. People are gonna try it no matter what. Now, granted, it's not gonna be the success that they want, because we have seen this. We have seen this with, like, Borderlands 4. You can't mess up so many times in a row and not get punished. Diablo 4 sold 30 million copies in the first week, so maybe that's slightly different. But, people will leave. People will abandon, and in Bethesda's case, we have seen what they are capable of. More precisely, everything they are not capable of. So, a lot of people will not buy, but the people who are going to buy, I think, are going to be willing to dish out $100. It's going to be pretty sad.
Game of the Year victory, but now, in 2025, it's just past the point of being acceptable, and the competition isn't stopping their development. They continue to push on. Witcher 4 will be made in a new engine. GTA 6 will push gaming to new levels, and even indie titles like Expedition 33 are outclassing Bethesda, despite having a fraction of their budget. By the time The Elder Scrolls 6 drops, it will have to follow up all of these.
Yes, the Witcher 4 demo, that people are not believing is real gameplay. Yeah, people believe this is real gameplay. It's really, really bad.
Great upcoming games, and the fact Starfield looks so dated 2 years ago, it really does make you worried. Add to this, most of the audience they had have moved on. I recently met a 20-year-old who asked me about my YouTube channel. When I said that I cover games like Skyrim, he replied, "I've never heard of that, but I love Elden Ring." That says everything. Older fans like me will play The Elder Scrolls 6 out of nostalgia. Younger players won't. They won't compare it to Skyrim, they'll compare it to modern RPGs. We saw this with the Oblivion remaster. Nostalgia carried it for long-time fans, but newer players found it dated and didn't understand the hype. The gaming world has moved on since the last Elder Scrolls. Emil can ask for patience, but the industry won't wait. Technology advances, standards rise, and expectations change. So they don't listen to fan feedback, they don't embrace new technology or adapt to new standards. But do they study their competitors and take strengths?
Listen, I'm 100% sure Bethesda is going to use at least AI. Admittedly, at this point, would AI make a better Elder Scrolls game? Yes.
Well, not really. When Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 dropped, CD Projekt Red praised it for its life simulation aspects and stated they would adopt this in The Witcher 4. They even took a quest designer from Warhorse Studios to help them. They saw Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Again, the Witcher 4 is dead. CDPR have gone full woke. The California studios, activists, represent everything. It's The Witcher 4 is just over. In any case, that was ABV Gaming 10 out of 10. Bye!